Hey, we're back. Episode number 113 of the Acolyte. Not of the Acolyte, of Hyperspace Hype. We're covering the Acolyte, and I didn't play the intro. Shall I play the intro?
Go right ahead. Let's do it.
Punch it!
Yeah, so usually that plays first.
Usually. Glad to be back. Yeah. Glad to be back. This is exciting. I wish eventually we can get to episode 113 of The Acolyte. I know we're halfway through the season, Nathan. Before we begin, state of the galaxy, per se, people are mixed on this show. There's a lot of people that are just haters. I'm just not even going to recognize. Actually, fuck it. There was this guy I tweeted out, like, I love the Acolyte. You can usually tweet that out, you get shit. But this guy tweeted out, like, oh, bad writing, bad characterization. I'm like, okay. I see a lot of that, just like plain old, those two words, bad writing. I'm like, okay. I've seen some people with actual criticism of the writing, and I don't argue back. But like this one, I was like, I can tell the way he phrased it. I'm like, okay, I can tell he's a hater. I was like, give me some examples of bad writing. And he gave me a notes app, like within minutes. He gave me a notes app of like all these bad things that are wrong with the Acolyte. And I was like, it was like 1 p.m., which is, spoiler alert, when I woke up. And he gave me all this shit. I'm just laying in bed. I'm like, okay, half of these aren't even criticisms. The whole opening credits, peace and stuff. How is there peace when May just killed somebody in the first 5 minutes of the episode? It was peace before the Acolyte started. So, the credits where it says peace, I'm like, this guy's an idiot. Yeah. Okay. May says Jedi only draw their sabers when the intent is to kill. That's false. That goes against all canon. I'm like, that's not a false statement. If you Jedi are defensive, if the Jedi Order of this era is saying this, like I've seen people use that complaint where it's like, Cal Kestis or Anakin Skywalker did this. Obi-Wan Kenobi during the Clone War. They were in a war. It's like
they were generals.
If you walk into a normal situation and somebody with fists comes up to a Jedi, they're not going to pull the lightsabers out. 9 times out of 10.
Every situation I've seen in the show, barred your just needing a flashlight, they've all pulled them out only when there's a threat coming toward them.
Exactly, and even outside of the Acolyte, I think they were saying like the Acolyte as a whole is breaking canon. I'm like, even outside of the Acolyte in the prequels or whatever, it's like Jedi are only taking lightsabers out in defensive positions if they're about to be attacked, if they sense danger. I mean, like this isn't a new statement. People are acting like Jedi always pull out lightsabers in any situation. And then he says, well, that's some bullshit. And Dara does nothing to prevent May from beating up people in the bar. Storytelling. That's she literally starts fighting May. There's no murder mystery. And I've seen it before. There's no murder mystery when the show immediately reveals who the murderer is in May. The murder mystery, I think the genius part about this show is the murder mystery. We go in expecting it to be like, what's going on here? Even though in the trailers, we see May killing people. In the trailers, we know May is the assassin. Yeah. So it's like the show is built up about like, did May do the murder? Nobody's going in, especially if you're watching the trailer for episode 1. Nobody's going into the show thinking, did May do the murder or whatever? It's figuring out why she did, what's going on there. But the funny thing is, the murder mystery, I think, going deeper into the series, is about who killed, like what happened on Brendock. That's the murder mystery there.
That's the mystery, and also the mystery being of like who this mysterious Sith figure is.
Exactly. Yeah. Is he somebody we know? Is somebody we don't
at all as well?
Exactly. If he's a Sith and if it's somebody we don't know, exactly. And then it's just everything else is just, it makes no sense. And of course they didn't want to argue anymore. He said, "Oh, goodbye." I'm like, yeah, okay, whatever. I didn't reply to every one of them. I just did the first 2. Anyways, this show's been getting mixed reviews, and I've been really loving this show. I think episode 4 really highlighted one of the flaws again, which is Disney Plus in general. I don't know if it's Disney Plus in general or because again, whenever I say Disney Plus, I'm like, well, Andor was on Disney Plus, and I feel like each episode there felt like a brand new episode. But even then, I think the early parts of the end of Andor are the weakest episodes, like episodes 1 and 2. Wow, great. Still, I haven't really watched Andor like I do the Acolyte, but even then, like there were some episodes where they just end abruptly. But for the most part, Andor was a complete show that took its time. That was more paced better than this show. But
pretty heavy too.
It's very heavy, exactly. And I feel like watching this show, while the pacing is a little bit, not my full cup of tea, I'm enjoying the character interactions that we get within each episode. And we'll talk about it here, where I enjoyed a lot of the character interactions, like a Jackie and Osha, like Soul and Osha, of course, May and Chimere, are the few and far between. I wish these episodes were longer, but it's not just a longer storytelling issue. It's just that, like, what we can be doing in that time. I'll talk about it as we go on for specific examples. But overall, personally, I'm loving this show. I didn't like the cliffhanger. As a fan, I'm like, oh, this is where we leave off. Like, it was full on. I mean, it's not even a cliffhanger. Cliffhangers are very hard to describe. I guess this is, for all intent and purposes, it's a cliffhanger. But it's only a cliffhanger because we just stopped in the middle of a action sequence.
I think usually like cliffhangers are like either like a revelation or on the cusp of one.
Yeah, exactly. Like The Force Awakens. That's fair. That's fair to say. The Force Awakens is a cliffhanger-ish, a literal cliffhanger ending. Even though thematically the resolution for the characters are pretty much good, minus Finn. You can argue about that, but like Rey's arc, Kylo's arc for that specific film, pretty much. I'll retrace my steps there. Finn's arc about like realigning with the rebellion is pretty much concluded in that film. So it's not like there's a hanging like character journey. We're like, oh, what's like we see it continued. Obviously, it's a trilogy, but I feel like you come across Force Awakens being pleasantly satisfied. It's not like dangling the carrot in front of your face. But overall, that's just me yapping. Did you like episode 4, Nathan?
I liked it a lot. As a matter of fact, like when it comes to the abrupt ending, because it is rather abrupt. It was like a sense where it was like I was also like, oh, what? That's it? But in a happy way. I was like, damn, this is such a good show. I can't wait for the next one.
Exactly. Yeah, I'm the same way. I can't wait for the next one. I think episode 5 is going to be really incredible. The writer came on Twitter, who has since had to block their account because idiots. But she came on Twitter and she said they did write this as like a big episode and they've had to figure out where to stop it. And they figured this was the best place to stop it, given what we're getting next week, which will be a longer episode. She said she wasn't sure, but she was pretty sure this was the shortest episode of the season. But don't quote her on that. We'll have to wait and see. But yeah, it was a short episode, but we got some fun stuff. And again, before I begin, this is not a filler episode. I saw this again today. It's not a filler episode. Filler has lost all meaning in media these days. We all know this. Whenever you don't like something, you just call it filler because that's just easy. It's rushed or it's filler. That's the easy buzzword people like to say. But it's not filler because if it's filler, big story revelations would have not had to happen. There's been some fun filler episodes that have no revelation to the plot. Filler episodes are good when they elevate character while not having a lot of story beats.
You can I personally don't ever really like using the word filler because whatever time we spend with the characters to connect with them, I'm like, all right, cool.
True.
But you look at like Mando season 3 with like the Jack Black episode. It's probably more line, something like that.
It's probably filler, and if you want to look deep into that episode, you can say how it can elevate Mando's like. If you really want to stretch it, I'm not a fan of that episode, but like we talked about it, we're like, if you look at it deeply, it's Mando coming to terms with a lot of things and like his interactions with Jack Black's character, how he's coming across people in the New Republic. You can kind of stretch it out, but like. It is filler, but it's not a bad thing. It's just that it's filler in the sense that it's not progressing the story. We're just getting, again, like you said, time with the characters, and at times it can elevate characters up. Breaking Bad's The Fly episode technically could be called a filler, but it's one of the best fillers of all time because it's really getting into
Walt.
Thank you. Wow.
Mike Flanagan, yes.
Mike Flanagan. You can really get into Walter's mindset during that time in his life, which is very critical given the state that he's in. That loss of control that he's feeling. And that's, paralleled with a fly. But this isn't a fly episode. We should do that one day because I love that episode. Ryan Johnson, thank you. He didn't write it, but he directed it. Let's get into this short episode. So we don't have a lot to talk about today, but there was very much some fun stuff to talk about. We open up on Kofar with Kelnaka, the life and times of Kelnaka. Right off the bat, gotta say, wish we spent more time with Kelnaka, either this episode or just, overall. They hyped him out on stage. What was it? London?
Europe, yeah.
Or our London.
2022.
Okay, yeah. So they hyped him out. We weren't there. I was like,
we didn't see Jay-Z announce episode 10. It was nice.
That was great. I remember waking up like, because like London was like at 11 a.m. and it's like 6 a.m. our time or 7. Anyways.
I'm like refreshing, crying.
Me too. I'm like, yeah, she's back. Anyways.
Little kid screaming he got sniped.
That was good timing. Good timing. Good times, I mean. But
who's on it though?
Doing good. He knew to put it in the pocket and everything like that. Anyways, I just wish, given all the hype that was around Konaka, just as a fan, I would have liked to see him more. But of course, we are going to see him more in the flashback, which I think, again, we talked about it last week. I think we are going to get at least one more, obviously, but I think we're going to get two more, either one more episode or two more POVs, the Jedi and May, both of which are going to be very revealing, and both of which will reveal what happened to Konaka. If you look into the trailers, he seemed to be mind controlled, attacking Torben. So we'll have to wait and see what happened there. But Konaka is just chilling at his place, and this is very interesting, Nathan. Pause if you want, or the episode really just narrows it down. By the end of the sequence, we do see a lot of the yin-yang symbols from the Coven, along with their spiral insignias and symbols that were very much emblematic of the Coven. Where do you think, or what do you think the situation is overall happening here with Konaka?
I don't know. I wonder. I guess it might be further expanded upon when we see whatever he's gone through back on in the past. But it's possible that whatever effects he went through at that time, maybe he was realizing the Force is a bit more expansive than what the Jedi have been studying, and maybe he's looking to a multitude of different angles of the living Force as is.
Exactly, living cosmic. Good points. And I think there's two possible explanations here. Like you said, he could just be doing research, which is one of the train of thoughts that I was on after the episode. But when I was watching the episode presently, or on Tuesday, immediately I thought like, oh, is this after effects of being mind controlled? Like, he was mind controlled by the thread. There could have been some kind of surprise after effects where he can't get that physically out of his mind. He can't get that experience out of his mind. So he's just like scribbling in madness, like a after effect of whoever in the Coven used that mind trick on him. The after effect of that has him scribbling down, writing symbols along the walls, or it could just be academically, like you said, he's just studiously trying to figure out more about the thread.
I don't know if I saw this correctly, but I feel like the first yin yangs we saw on the wall were more like less the witch ones, and I thought they looked more akin to like the Jedi symbol that like that pond, in the Last Jedi that's in the cave.
I didn't even think about that. I was immediately went to the Coven. You could be right. Yeah, again, and which could be more ties into like his overall studies with the Force as a whole, which includes the thread, which includes their own Force, which includes the Jedi. So yeah, that could definitely be it. So let's see here.
It's definitely like an interesting angle to like, because usually whenever we see somebody who's like in a state of exile, they're usually just kind of like not actively taking part in their past endeavors. They're usually just kind of like living isolated, like living off the land and stuff. But like the idea of like Kalnaka like being out on his own, but he's still in the realm of everything and still like trying to understand it all. It's kind of interesting.
It is very interesting. And we learned, we're going to talk about it later, but we'll just talk about it right now. He was positioned on Kofar, but then he walked away, which was interesting to me. I thought he just literally just ran off to a random planet, but it looked like he was positioned on Kofar with an established team, and then he just left them to go into the woods, and they never found him again. Because as we see, the woods are very much expansive and huge. So it's easy to get lost in there.
With creatures.
So he just kind of made a place for himself and dipped, which was interesting. But yeah, the yin and yang symbols of it all is just very much emblematic of the Force overall, light and dark, and also of the thread. That duology is very much a big symbol for the show. You know, the two moons, Osha and May, yin and yang, the thread between destiny and choices, like all these kind of things that they always talk about. There's usually this big duology with this show, and that's very interesting. We cut to also in my notes I said, if it is some kind of mind control after effect, Torben wasn't affected by this. He just went to a bearish vow.
It could be dependent on like how long you're under the spell.
True. Yeah, Torben was like a very much boom boom, and then Kalnaka went to see what happened.
Yeah.
But then Coruscant, we jump to Coruscant, and we see Jeki training, talking about diminish areas of vulnerability, maximize defenses without need to strike, which is very interesting. It is pretty much basic Jedi teachings. Yeah. But it does reflect, I made a note about it, it does reflect like how the show is doubling down on the defensive nature of the Jedi, which Indara very much seconded when May said Jedi, or she said Jedi do not attack the unarmed, and May says, well, you did. That's a part that's still very much intriguing to me. Because we're doubling down on this defensive aspect of the Jedi, but in the past, maybe that wasn't the case. And maybe that's why Kalnaka and Torben are so distraught, because they broke a cardinal Jedi teaching that they were taught for a very long time since they were young, as is Jeki here as she's training.
Which is interesting when you think back to episode 3 with Sol approaching Osha. You know, he's like pulling out his saber, and Dara's like, "Hey, no, don't do that." But he's just showing off the hilt. He's not attacking.
Yeah. She's like, "What the fuck are you doing?" No, I'm kidding.
But you know, clearly have a sense of like, no, we don't do that.
Exactly. Like, we don't do that. We're not attacking them. There's no reason to right now. But Osha waits for Jeki. Very cute scene overall. Osha waiting for Jeki. But also, as we figure out later on via some dialogue, she's not just waiting for Jeki so she can say goodbye to Jeki. It feels like there's so much yearning for the Jedi, for being a Jedi again, which we've been talking about since, I don't know, episode 1, 2, 3, whatever the fuck. But like maybe 4, maybe this episode. But one of the major arcs for this show in general is Osha reconnecting with the Force. It starts here in episode 4. She literally says it. And I very much smiled when she said it, because I'm like, yes, this is exactly what we've been saying on the podcast. Osha's main arc is connecting to the Force, which she can't unless she fully accepts what happened in the past with May, which I think still needs some growth. We'll talk about Osha's growth here in this episode. But yeah, she's very much like pondering and yearning for what she once had. Yes, she was a Jedi in the past. Yes, she did quit of her own, at least from her understanding, her own volition. But she's still, part of her still wants what her heart once desired, and that was to be a Jedi. So I think it might be a big arc for her. We'll have to wait and see. I love that moment. And then her and Jeki are talking. Girlfriends. girlfriend. This was very sweet, and I like that Daphne Keene. Immediately my when I'm watching this, my radar is like popping off. I'm just like, oh, great chemistry, good stuff happening.
Gator, you got some Gator. You ever heard that?
A little bit. I can't say I've used it in my everyday vocabulary. But yeah, I was like, oh, okay, this is cute. This is adorable. But it was even better when Daphne Keene said like she played this scene like Jackie had a crush on May, which is weird. I didn't watch the audio version, but just reading it based on like the article that was stated in, she said like, I don't know if I'm allowed to say this, but my interpretation of that scene is that Jackie was crushing on Osha. I wouldn't know why you wouldn't be allowed to say that. But I asked this question to another podcast I listened to, What the Force, and they are amazing. And I agree with them in that all faith in Lucasfilm when it comes to romance, not happening. Not happening. It is zero chance. If you want good romance in Star Wars, especially in the High Republic, you have to go to like the books and the comics. There's literally a comic, High Republic Adventures. Jedi just quit being a Jedi so she can fall in love with this friend, her girlfriend, basically. I just finished another book, High Republic Defies the Storm, to Jordana Sparkburn and Silvestri Yara, two confirmed gay couple, or two confirmed lesbians couple in there. And there's another gay couple in that book too. Like, the High Republic is gay as fuck, and I love it for that. And romantic as hell too, just overall. So if you want romance in Star Wars, books and comics will feed you all the way. Movies, TV shows, they'll give you jack shit. They'll give you like a little bit of seasoning.
I'll get 10 seconds.
Yeah, 10 seconds.
And that's ripped away.
I'm trying to think. Oh yeah, like Han and Leia is like the best example. Anakin and Padme, but they both end in tragedy. So it's like even one of our favorites, Rebels with Kanan and Hera, tragedy. Spoiler alert. So yeah,
Ezra and Sabine,
not happening. The siblings,
they look like a couple of besties.
It's like, come on. He's like a brother to me. Fuck off. Anyways, I mean, I get it. Found family, but nah, boring. Like
you're gonna say no to that beard.
Maybe it's like a season 2. But also now I'm like Sabine and fucking what's the other Shin, yeah.
That's right. That is my ship currently. We're good.
Now I'm like, okay, if you're gonna give me the freaking brother dynamic with Ezra, cool. Shin and Sabine are right there. Make it happen. They're on the same planet for who knows how long. Anyways.
Yeah, oh my god.
So episode 1, Dave's like, they're out of there.
Anyway, guidebook.
We'll see. I give it 2 episodes tops before they leave that planet, by the way, in Ahsoka season 2. Anyways, trying to think of a good romance that we just watched. Jedi Survivor, Cal and Marin. That's peak. But again, you have to buy a $70 video game. Like 2 games, yeah. They're not on the big screen. They're not on the small screen. There will never be a time when we get like a lesbian romance or gay romance in general on screen, or a romantic partnership in general on screen for a long time, I think.
And that's why you should follow @_TimeBlazer for all your different perspectives of dating.
Peak. I hope so. But yeah, Osha says she's not staying. Thanks, Jackie. Jackie thought Osha would stay, but Osha's like, no, May is the Jedi's problem. And this is pretty much a big arc for this episode, at least half of the arc, given that it is half of an episode 4. Yeah. Like episode 4 and 5 are basically one episode. But for this episode, Osha is very passive. And I think this is part of her arc this season again, connecting with the Force, maybe becoming a Jedi again. But in general, she has to be aggressive and not passive. Aggressive in the sense that she's going about what her heart wants, because actively she's going against what her heart wants. And she's very much afraid of connections. She didn't even say bye to Soul. It wasn't going to say goodbye to Soul. She was too afraid to say goodbye to Soul. Nervous, scared, however you want to interpret it. She didn't want to say goodbye to Soul. She's willing to say goodbye to Jackie because, a fresh relationship there.
Do you think in this season we'll see the moment when Osha left the Jedi?
I hope so. I don't want to say I hope so, in this case I don't want to be disappointed. But I think so. It's not as important as the Brendock stuff. But maybe we do. If not this season, maybe in a future season. Like I'll be very disappointed if we don't get a season 2.
I'm very excited for season 2. We are getting a season 2. Put it out there. Just make it the common knowledge, so everyone's like, "Yeah, season 2's coming."
Let's do that. Yeah, fuck. I'm tired of being nervous. We're getting a season 2. What other shows are out there? Are we Ahsoka season 3 or something? Mando season 5.
I think Andor's ending after a second season.
Andor's ending next year. I don't even know what other live action Star Wars is next year besides Andor.
We're getting Skeleton Crew, right? This year?
Skeleton Crew is at the end of this year, which is going to bleed into next year.
Yeah.
It might just be Andor. 12 episodes of Andor might be it for next year. But yeah, Ahsoka season 2 in 2026, along with Acolyte season 2.
It's such an expansive playground of time period.
It's so much. We have 100 years, and there's plenty of interesting storylines especially for all these young characters too. Even if Soul bites the dust, sorry guys, we'll get to that. I think he's confirmed dead after this episode. Confirmed
Soul season 2.
Soul season 2.
You can't take him from me, Evan, because we don't have Force Ghosts yet.
I would love to. Yeah, he'll be gone, baby, gone. So yeah, Leslie at the start of this Acolyte press tour, she told Perry Nemiroff that she talked to Kathleen Kennedy. Her plan for the Acolyte when she pitched it with multiple seasons in mind. Perry asked how many. She said at least 3 seasons. If she had, if God was on her side, I think I'm paraphrasing, but like if all cards aligned, 3 seasons at least would be a good starting point. And I think she did preface by saying like, while there is more stories to tell, the emotional journey will be concluded in this season, which for me says Osha and May plotline will be wrapped up. Not saying that Osha and May not saying that one of them is going to die or whatever. Just the Osha and May emotional storyline will be concluded, and then there'll be another riveting storyline to tell in season 2. But moving on, let's say, she says it's Jedi's problem. And I noted how surprising this was, given the fact that she can't get over it. But she is one to run away from a problem. She ran away from the Jedi Order. She's running away. We first saw her in episode 1 when she was literally on the run. She's always running away from her choices. But yeah, like you said, the "Don't Tell Me You'll Miss Me" Jackie Crush thing was beautiful. I need the cantina scene. Maybe at the end of the season, her and Jackie in the Order just getting a drink. In Coruscant. It's just a little end credits for them. That'd be beautiful. Maybe May's there too. What?
George said to Osha they need to talk. Catch up.
Did he?
In this episode, yeah. When they were walking.
Oh, I missed that. Oh, yeah. I would love... Because I was on my Yord patrol. Yord didn't make me sus, but I was listening to 2 podcasts this week.
I'll do this.
I listened to 2 podcasts this week. I'm like...
Yord's in the suit.
Are they right? Is that... I didn't take that as sus, but we'll get to the... We'll get to the check mark. There are certain things Yord did. I'm just like, if you're looking to perpetrate Yord, he could be, not that he's a Sith. He's definitely not, obviously. He's fighting him in this episode or next episode. But it's like, it could be a Scream thing where it's like, not multiple people are in the suit, but just like, he collects people. Could Yord be one of the people he collected? I doubt it. Guys. But it's very interesting. There's a lot of very interesting stuff. I'll just say right now, fast forward, because this podcast is crazy. At the end of the episode, when Yord is talking to Osha, he said, "Osha, I need you to stay back, but don't go inside here. Stay back, stay behind us." Specifically, he said, "Stay behind us." Meanwhile, they go to the hut. May get out of the house. Who approaches behind Osha at the scene, Darth Teeth. Darth Teeth, of course, flicks off Osha. We'll get to all that. But it's like Yord positioned Osha to be in direct contact with the Master. Plus, Yord was very upset that, and now I'm just going through all my Yord stuff. But anyways, Yord was upset that Osha was on this mission. Are you upset, Yord? No, I'm just, what did he say? I'm just nervous about the situation at hand overall, something along those lines. Osha sensed that he was upset, though. He kind of talked her out of it. But Yord could be upset because Osha is on this mission to hunt down May. It's important that Osha and May do not get into contact. I think that even the Master knows that. Do not let Osha and May get into contact, especially the Master knows now, or somehow figured it out, or will figure it out, that May is not on his side anymore. But we'll get to all my May and Master stuff at the end of this episode, because he does put her into a corner where she was thinking of switching sides, but I don't think she will be in the next episode. I think he put her in a corner where she's in a very difficult spot to say, like, scratch that, Master, I'm with you again. I love you. Hey, we're cool now.
Just kidding.
Just kidding. Basically, yeah, I think he's going to put her into a corner in episode 5. We meet Chimere, who's putting this whole thing. Chimere and May make their way to Kofar. They park. They're getting the provisions out of the bags. And I gotta say, what?
Sorry, it was a very funny tweet going around, or like a picture of Chimere fumbling this giant ass bag, and it was like, "What's in there? Is it the suit?"
Yeah, that's what I'm exactly talking about. Where it's like, "What's in the suit?" I paused it because I've heard all that stuff. I paused the episode. There's these big, tall, canisters, these huge canisters that May is taking out of, putting into her bag. It's not as big as Chimere's, but just putting it into her bag. Chimere's doing the same thing, going into that tube, putting things into his bag. I think that's why his bag is full. They're just these big provisions they got from the ship. He's putting into his bag. Now, let me preface this by saying, I came in here, me and you both, Chimere is not the Sith. He's not Darth Teeth. We know that. It was obvious. And I said, if it's not Chimere, or if it is Chimere, they're going to make it very obvious, and they're going to reveal it to us before the finale. That could still be the case. Because this episode, very sus from Chimere. Every single scene, I'm pausing it. Jalen and I are like, why is he being so sus right now?
Dialogue was very kind of hilariously on the nose at times.
Super on the nose. I'm like, Jalen, I didn't think it was
again. What was his name? Soul?
Yeah, I'm like,
eye contact. I'm like, what are you doing?
What are you doing? I'm like, I think I said that same thing. I paused. I was like, Chimere, what are you doing? You're being so obvious to the audience right now. So much so that people are like, this is bad writing. That's another bad thing. But it's not. I think if it is Chimere, somebody being obvious is not bad writing. Glass Onion. Spoilers for Glass Onion, guys. Spoilers for Glass Onion. There were a lot of suspects in Glass Onion in terms of who was a murderer. I'm not gonna spoil who was a murderer in Glass Onion, but I wasn't exactly surprised. But the beauty of Glass Onion isn't who is the killer. That's definitely part of it. But the beauty of Glass Onion is that the character around Janelle Monáe's stuff and what happened there. Yeah. That twist is more of the big mystery, the big WTF moment, rather than who was a murderer. Because, yeah, that makes sense. If you watch the movie, you see the murder, that makes sense. So yeah, in this way, again, mysteries that have an obvious killer isn't bad writing, as long as there's something equally important or fascinating that they're trying to discuss. But yeah, again.
Even in Star Wars, we've seen similarly of somebody posing one certain way to know. It's the very first introduction of Yoda in Empire. It's I'm looking for this great Jedi Master, and Yoda is acting all fucking kooky and weird, but he's still spitting wisdom, around stuff war's not make one great. Let's go eat.
Yeah, exactly.
And then he hobbles all the way to the hut, and Luke's pissed on at the very end. And Yoda just gives up. He's like, I can't teach him.
Exactly. So we've seen different character like duality. Again, there's that duality part of this show. So if it's him, that'll make sense. Now, I gotta say, when I finished the episode, I'm like, man, it's full on him. But then at the end of the episode, when I saw the guy flick OSHA, I paused it, and Jalen and I were like, those are some black hands. Those are some black ass hands. This guy is black. It looks like a black guy. Like when he flicked off OSHA, I paused it. Those aren't gloves. You can see hand textures. Flesh. Exactly. Hand textures. I'm an idiot. Flesh.
My God, the rendering on this human.
You mean his skin? So yeah. So skin, flesh. It looked like a black guy to me. Granted, it was dark, but like it didn't look like Chimera to me. But the episode really wants you to think it's Chimera. Which A, cool. If it's Chimera, that's cool. But B, it could be it really wants you to think it's Chimera, and it's not Chimera. Do not be surprised in episode 5 after Darth T finishes wrecking shop, which he will. Chimera comes out of the woods, and it's like, oh wait, these two are actually Chimera has been telling us the truth the whole time. That's I think I don't want to go 90. I think 85% Chimera is not the Sith now. I was reverted from when I was watching the episode. I was full on as Chimera now. I changed my mind, but now I'm back to where I originally was. I don't think it's Chimera. And I think all the Chimera sus is just Leslie playing us. Now watch the haters of the show be like, oh, well, this is bad writing because you told us it was Chimera. Now it's not Chimera. And
They will always say, you told us it was that. You marketed this. No, they didn't.
Or you can just watch your shit. Exactly. Were you saying something?
I think like if they do reveal that Chimera is separate, it'll probably be like in pursuit, like being chased by the Darth, and they'll bump into Chimera inexplicably, like during the chase. Like, oh fuck!
Oh, somebody's running, they run into Chimera. I see.
Yeah. Like, clash. Like, oh shit!
I think Chimera makes his way. I think Chimera's skilled enough to untie himself.
I'm sure. I don't mean like that. I mean just like he could just be in the forest.
Oh yeah.
And maybe he's like a backup of just like you're not going any further type.
Exactly. But I think he's, as a huge Scream fan, he's as red herring as you can get.
Evan, if there were 2 Darth Teeths,
that would be amazing.
I would fucking scream.
I would love it.
Another
one walks out, you're like, oh, that would be peak.
I would cry. That'd be so cool.
That'd be so peak. It's not going to happen.
It won't. It will never happen.
It would fit the show. It would fit, again, two, duology. Yeah. Do not be surprised if that does happen, though. That'd be sick. I can't think of, Chimera would be the only other option at that point. But anyways, that'd be very fun. I don't think it's going to happen, but I would love that. Chimera says he risks his life, not for his master, but to help May. When May says, like, why are you here? It's like, Chimera's like, I didn't do this for him. I did this for you. Is that believable? ? And then Chimera reminds her, hey, you made a deal. And OSHA being alive, it doesn't change anything. It means nothing.
Just more dialogue to be like, are you him?
Yeah, exactly. Which is to get him like, dude, that's so sus. And May's like, kind of like rolls her eyes, says, just tell me where I need to go, kind of thing.
They're walking around, they're like, kill him without a weapon. What do you think that means?
Yeah, it's like, yeah.
Like he's trying to help out, like a teacher trying to workshop a question with you.
Yeah, that's a good point. And let's keep that thought process going before we go back, because the next scene is going back to the Jedi Council meeting. But before we do that, let's just talk about this whole May and Chimera journey. Let me see. Where's it start again? Yeah, so right here. Chimera asked how to kill a Jedi without a weapon, like you said, Nathan. He'd walk around with a stick. Oh, sorry. Keep on talking. My aunt's texting me. Okay. But walk around with a stick, and the whole Chimera May sus about how to kill Jedi without a weapon. Yeah.
Yeah. Which I've stated before, and I really have not heard anybody else discussing that. But I've said before, I think the meaning behind killing a Jedi without a weapon would be through like the Force itself, Force choking somebody to death, going full-blown dark side, and committing your soul to it effectively by doing so.
I agree, and we talked about this, and it's fascinating that Osha or that May and Chimera are actually actively talking about it, because we figured like, what is it, these were questions the audience had, in terms of like, you killed Indara with your daggers, and now you kill Torben with poison. You're not really killing them without a weapon.
Mm-hmm.
Is that bad writing, or is that just something they're discovering? But we figure out in episode 2 that May literally says, "I'm doing things my way," and Chimera responds to that in this episode 4, where he says, "You got to stop doing things your way, and the master gave you a thing. It's time to figure it out, basically." And they're figuring out. And I'm with you, man. I think this is metaphorical. How to kill is the final lesson. How do you kill a Jedi without a weapon? By bringing to light what happened in the past. This is something only May can do, given that she was the survivor of the tragedy that these Jedi were directly involved in. How do you kill a Jedi without a weapon? By breaking down the tenets of their code. So much so that one committed suicide because he knows he broke a code. Whatever happened in the past, once that gets brought to light, that will effectively metaphorically kill Soul, who is the only remaining member of that Jedi. And if that happens, that can like expand to the Jedi as a whole, which is something, again, the Jedi do not, which is why the Jedi don't want this getting out. They don't know, of course, they don't know the whole ins and outs of what happened. Only Soul knows, but they do know Jedi are dying. We don't want this to get out. But if it gets out that the Jedi did do something, if May reveals something, if the Master somehow gets somebody to reveal something, that'll metaphorically kill the Jedi. Because again, the show is all about how we get to the Jedi in the prequels. So we'll have to wait and see. We'll have to wait and see. So we'll have to wait and see. And I'm very excited to see how that plays out, because it's very much a verbal and metaphorical attack that the Master is going towards, in terms of like, and it's very similar to what Sidious does. Like, how do you kill Jedi before Order 66, obviously, where he murders Jedi? But how do you kill Jedi without a weapon? Sidious does this on a grand galactic scale by making the Jedi seem like awful warmongers / generals in a war during the Clone Wars, and the Jedi sympathy for the Jedi deteriorates dramatically throughout the Clone Wars. So much so that when Sidious says Jedi tried to kill me, people are like, makes sense.
And also when you have like a brainwashing the entire existing army itself to like speak for you in that sense.
Exactly. So again, that's Palpatine stuff, but we know one of the big tenets of the show is to showcase the flaws of the Jedi. And again, people listening who might not be a fan of the show, but it's just like Leslie isn't trying to say all Jedi are bad. The Jedi are not bad. We know this. Have some critical thinking. It's like the Jedi aren't bad. Jedi will always be the good guys. Plain and simple. But these good guys are flawed. The prequels are all about the Jedi being flawed. Acolyte is all about getting to the point of the prequels. Come on, guys. So we're going to be learning about how they're flawed. How to kill a Jedi without a weapon is a prime example of that. But moving on. So yeah, the whole May stuff. Again, I'm just with you though. The whole May. How do you kill Jedi without a weapon, May? Make sure you follow your things, May. It's like Chimera, extremely sus. Extremely sus. What do you think about the whole he collects people? When May said, have you ever seen the Master? He says, I haven't. I just owe him, he says. Or he says, did you guys make a deal? He says, we didn't make a deal. I just owe him. Very curious line. Again, I'm not dying to see a Chimera and Darth Teeth flashback, but I just wonder what kind of thing he owes him. Chimera, it could be as simple as Chimera being down on his luck and the Sith coming in and giving him salvation. It could be that simple. And then, of course, he collects people. Chimera is one of them. May is one of them. But again, mystery show. Yord could be one of them, or it could just be somebody we know could be one of them, or it's just a throwaway line. But it is a very interesting line. He collects people. There are people under him besides May and Chimere. Yeah. And that alone is very interesting. And then, Chimere said, Osha seemed, when May said, so how did Osha feel like when she met you? Chimere says, Osha seemed way in over her head and was fond of that soul guy, which again, like you mentioned earlier, it's trying to bring May back into her mission statement, like killing the Jedi, reminding her about the evils that Soul did. So May can stay on track because he's smart enough to realize she might be having doubts, which again happens later on in the episode. And then later on for Chimere and May, let's see here. Chimere and May enter the forest. Nothing happens there. But later on, Chimere reassures her, or May sits down. She's like, I'm not going to be going through this forest exhausted before I find Kilnaka. He's a Wookiee. Again, tricking him. And then she goes off, screams. He comes back. Boom, gets caught. And May says, switching sides. This was a huge shock. And again, I think a better show would have made the scene more longer or seeded it in previous episodes. I'm not sure how you do it here. I'm not a writer, but it was very sudden, and I think it works. I'm not upset at the turn. I think it completely works. And I was like, oh wow, but I like it. I just think it just could have been expanded upon some more in previous scenes. But either way, sorry, yeah.
I think if I were structuring it, I probably would have placed it after the flashback perspective of May that we've yet to see.
Say it again.
Like I'm pretty sure we're still set to see May's side of events in the past. I think I probably would have showcased that episode first before having May flip, just to have the full perspective of her ideals and like her driving force. Presumably, her driving force being that everybody, especially Osha, being gone. But she says as much here. Osha being alive changes everything. So
exactly.
And granted, that has still been a driving force that you could tell. Even by the end of episode 3, she went to the tree where Osha always is. She wasn't there this time.
I am completely with you. I agree. Like you said, that would have been a smart thing to do post flashback as well. But it being here makes sense. Given the little bit that we got, I can track the breadcrumbs, specifically episode 3, which I think that's why it was smartly constructed. Because but people counter with like, I'm going to kill you, Osha, which could be Osha's perspective. I still think we need to see more from that scene. But if that is actual May saying those words, that's a kid who really doesn't want her sister to leave.
She'd say things without fully knowing what they're saying.
Exactly, 100%. And for all we know, burning the book still didn't cause a huge fire that was going to engulf everything. So there's still more to say. But all throughout episode 3, prior to that scene specifically, and even after that scene, I'll get to that. But like prior to that scene, Osha leaving hurt May. May really wants Osha to stay. She's like, please promise me that you will lie to the Jedi. I really want you to stay. Even after the fire, when they meet in the cavern, which I mentioned in episode 3, first thing she says, May, what happened? Like, what's going on? What did you do? Or Osha, May tells Osha, hey, what happened? What did you do? And when they're like, things are coming down, she's like, Osha, jump to me. Osha, please jump. While Osha also says, May, jump before the bridge crumbles. They both wanted each other at that moment before they fall. So there was still love for her. And then again, like you said, she goes to the tree looking for Osha. Osha was always the reason. And the master capitalized on that by saying, Osha being gone is because the Jedi. Your mission is to kill these Jedi. And that's the whole purpose of her training. Osha being alive changes everything. Oshi being alive changes everything. And then we see May finishing up May's storyline this episode. She goes to Kilnaka's cabin to turn herself in. He's not there. And she instantly knows as day turns to night. What? But, he's there. Sorry.
But he's no longer with us.
Yeah, he's sleeping.
I'm mad, Evan.
Yeah, I'm sad too. Again, I
Get a
wanted
new
more.
Wookiee for Jonas because he deserves it.
Jonas plays a new Wookiee in every episode or every season.
I mean, if that's how it's going to be, then all right. But like, don't
I would love that.
bring him back. He'll probably be back in Rey's film, but beyond that, we don't know.
Exactly, we have no idea.
Solo 2, I can only dream.
We're gonna be dreaming for a long time. But yeah, so that was very fascinating. Day turns to night as she realizes that, like, he's here. It's brilliant storytelling there.
It's the way he enters, Evan.
Yeah, the way he enters was just so so good. I want to wait. I want to wait for that. So that was May's whole arc this episode. And May, I think, again, theories for next week. I think May is really going to what's it called? Be stuck in a corner where she wanted to leave this episode. Episode 5, I think she's going to be trickling back into the Master's camp. He's going to slaughter a lot of these Jedi. Will Soul die this episode, episode 5? High chance he does. Maybe not. But then a lot of them will die. I think she's going to be cornered into helping him again, whether she likes it or not. The interesting thing for me, though, in regards to May's journey, she only tells Chimera that she's going to turn on Soul or turn on him and the Master, not expecting the Master to be there. The Master kills Konaka, which, if he knew May turn on him, that was smart, because, again, he's boxing her into a corner. But given what we know, he did not know. Did he always plan to kill Konaka even though that was her mission? Or did he do that because he overheard that she was leaving, which only could have been within the 10 minutes that she hung up Chimera? So I'm like,
this thing is like when she finds Konaka's body, the wound is fresh. It's still like it's fresh still.
So it's like, there's enough time for Chimera to be like, yo, boss, she turned on us. And he's like, I'm already here. And then kills Konaka.
Yeah.
But like, you gave her a mission and you help her and you cut part of her mission short by killing Konaka. It just kind of it caught me off guard. I was like, isn't that May's mission? Maybe that'll be explained, maybe not.
Well, I think like it is May's mission, but if he got wind of betrayal, then because he already knew, May already told Chimera that she was going to tell Konaka to like get some type of leeway, good graces for her journey forward. So the Master took that out of the equation and put her in that corner.
Exactly, and she said she has things to share. I can tell him who. She used a who word. She's like, I can tell him who I know. Oh, not after I tell them who I know. She doesn't know who the Master is, but she knows something. She can tell him a lot about her training the past 16 years. So that'll be a lot. But anyways, I don't want to keep us long here, but I want to go over the Jedi Council meeting at the beginning of the episode. Again, for all the Kai-Dai Moondai freaking idiots. I don't want to go over all that stuff, but Kai and the other Jedi are looking at May's fight against Soul in a hologram. They're not looking at the Sith or anything, so there's nothing contradictory. But anyways, I found the scene fascinating because it's really much getting the ball rolling on tracking down May, and Soul needs Osha to do it. And then I like what Vernestra says that what's it called? Splinter Order is being discussed. They kind of break that away as like being nonsense. We know that to be nonsense, but like it could be a case. But also, Vern reminds them that do not tell the Jedi Council High Council because they'll be obliged to inform the Senate. What is the political situation in this show? And that was another criticism I saw, which fair or not, but like, could we explore more of the politics in this show if we had the longer run times as well? Like,
who's the chancellor?
Can we get some chancellor scenes? Can we get some High Council Senate scenes? Like, I don't need them talking in the Senate chambers or anything, but just like talking about the Senate in a longer fashion. What are these political enemies that we saw in episode 1 and 2? Why is it so drastic that we can't tell the Senate? We know, like, point blank, it's like the Senate will make it seem like the Jedi are not trustworthy, but it's like, I kind of want that explored. A little part of me does. It's not super relevant to the May and Osha storyline. It's just more world building, but I'll be very fascinated to learn about that. So yeah, OSHA basically, or Vernestra says they will handle it themselves and find out who the master is. And we got a little bit of sweet Vernestra here, where she says, what's it called? Why didn't you tell me what happened with May? Like, the sweet girl died or is alive. Like, why didn't you tell me? And Soul's like, if you saw what I saw, there's no way I would think that she was alive. She fell down a chasm, basically. And Vanessa's like, okay, but how do we do this? And Soul's like, please let me use OSHA, because there's no way that May would turn herself in willingly. Which is funny because that's exactly what she ends up doing. She ends up turning herself willingly. Even without OSHA, even without her knowing OSHA's on the planet, she was willing to turn herself in willingly without OSHA. OSHA, of course, being alive is a big thing, but even if OSHA wasn't on this trek, same thing would have happened. She still would have wanted to turn herself in, which is very fascinating. He collects people. We talked about that. So then the journey begins. I love seeing the whole, when OSHA tells Soul, or Soul tells OSHA, we want you to go on this mission. OSHA's face lights up. You want me to become a Jedi again? And Soul's like, not for this. We just need you to help out. And OSHA connects the dots, being like, to get to May.
A little disappointed.
A little disappointed. That was very fascinating. I'm like, part of her wants to be a Jedi again. You can tell she really wants to. Season 2, if that happens, when that happens, give OSHA a lightsaber.
I want to see OSHA in those robes, dude.
You do? You said?
I do, yeah.
Yeah, me too. I really want to see what her outfit would be. And, it'll be High Republic outfit. What am I kidding? But
they were just really good robes.
They're just really good robes. I really want to see her in that. And I think it's a natural progression, kind of like Rey in The Force Awakens kind of progression. You saw her in a scavenger outfit, then she gets a Jedi outfit. OSHA in her normal engineer/civilian outfit all throughout season 1, but then she gets a lightsaber and she becomes who she is really meant to be. So yeah, then they go on this journey, and some big parts about this journey. I love Basil, by the way. Basil was cool. Very cool character. The way he disappeared toward the end was very sus in terms of the Yord thing. Yord's the only one who can understand him. Then he runs off alone, screams like, hey, May's here. Yord understands that, then runs. Like, again, if you wanted to believe the Yord sus, there are crumbs. I don't think he is, but it's just very funny to me. He's the only one who can understand Basil, and Basil's the only one that kind of walks off randomly. They need a tracker to find a tracker. Like, what's going on here? It was just very funny to me.
Yeah.
Other key moments from this journey that I liked. OSHA is, again, very passive. She doesn't want to kill May. And she's asking first Yord here. Yord declined wanting to hurt OSHA. May. And she says, May has always been your wound. You have to face yourself, which is a very poignant and good Yord moment. He's right. And Soul told her the same thing. Like, you have to face yourself. This isn't just for May. This is for you. This is a journey for you as well. Which is very funny. They're heading into a forest, and it's very similar to Dagobah, where Luke had to face himself in a dark side forest.
Yeah.
Not saying this whole forest is dark side, but thematically, OSHA going to a forest has to face herself being May. I really hope they meet each other in episode 5. It's going to be under bad circumstances, so let's prepare ourselves for that. Because again, the Darth Keith is going to be there to shake things up. But I really hope they meet each other eye to eye next week. So that's just very interesting. So she asked Soul, she asked Yord, she asked Jeki after. Yeah, this is after Jeki and the whole bug thing, which was very creepy. But then this is her connecting to the Force. Why did she touch it? That wasn't smart, OSHA. But she touches the bugs in the Force because she's finally able to sense life again. So she's curious again. She touches the bugs happen, but again, passive. What's the first thing she says when she's under attack? Soul, please help me. Soul comes in like a father trying to stomp on a bug. Comes in. Papa Soul comes in, swings it back, swings the lightsaber, kills the bug. So again, that's emblematic of OSHA being passive, but also Soul in front of danger doesn't, and we see this with other monsters in Star Wars. How do you react to monsters in Star Wars, right? we talked about it in Bad Batch when Asajj and Omega are fighting the big monster in the water. Asajj and Omega touch it to calm it down.
Yeah.
Soul swings the lightsaber and attacks, which again, fair enough, but also it could be a symbol of like what happened in the past as well, where first thing first is, oh shoot, there's danger. I got to protect myself. And that could be, again, something similar could have happened in the past with the Coven. Like, maybe it didn't need to happen. Maybe you didn't need to kill this bug. In this case, the bug seemed dangerous, but you never know. In the past, they could have thought the same thing about the Coven. The Coven seems dangerous in whatever moment they were in. Lightsaber gets called, chaos happens, rest is history. So I find that moment very interesting. And soon afterwards, she tells Jecki she disturbed the creature. Now it's dead. And Jecki says it's an honor to witness something entering the Force, which is it's Jedi being Jedi, which is not great. Yeah, like bad Jecki. But then I like how Jecki kind of backpedals. You know, she understands Osha's down at this moment. She's like, Osha admits she couldn't accept what she lost. And Jecki says, you were not defined by what you lose. You're defined by what you survive. I thought that was a very poignant line from a very young Padawan in Jecki. That was great. And yeah, I think, again, I'm loving this Jecki and Osha dynamic, 2 Padawans from Soul. And when Soul inevitably crumbles or gets hurt or wounded physically, mentally, whatever, when that comes to happen, how will his 2 Padawans respond in Jecki and Osha? When they're two, like, again, Osha, it's like a father-daughter relationship. Same thing for Jecki. When their father, theoretically, gets wounded, how would they react? You know, both of you and I watched Presumed Innocent. Right? Did you watch the latest episode, by the way, Presumed Innocent?
Not yet.
I won't say anything. But like even episode 2, when they find out what their father did, it's like, how do you react to your father, the person you look up to, possibly doing something very bad? It's very interesting. Like, how does that disrupt the family? How's that going to disrupt Jecki and Osha's relationship? We'll have to wait and see. I'm very curious.
Yeah.
So then, of course, that's when we went right into the May and Chimera stuff. We already talked about that. They're venturing through the woods. They lose Basil. Where is Basil at? They hear the scream. They come running. They make it to Konaka's cabin. But then, by that time, darkness has overtaken everything. Uyor says, Osha, stay back. May and Asaya, come out of the house with your hands up, you black... No, I'm kidding. But May is stuck. Again, she's in a corner because the Jedi, you know, fair or not, blame her for whatever happened in there. They don't know what happened in there, but they just know May's in there. May come out with her hands up. May is kind of like, shit, what do I do? But then everybody senses, as he mentioned, Osha, that shot, dark teeth hovering in the corner. Nathan, I stood up. I was like, oh, shit. God. It was amazing. Freaking amazing. Slowly walks toward her. Perfect. It was so perfect. Walks up to her, just like Chimera. I tweeted that out. I was like, just like Chimera walked up to Osha in front of her, where Chimera's like, you're not May. Right? In episode 2. So then now in this one, it's like it's really shoving it down our throats that Chimera's the Sith, given very similar characteristics. But then again, when he flicks her off, I see a black hand, guys. I see a black hand. So we're going down the mystery character route. But either way, Osha's flung off. Now, Nathan, people have been theorizing with May turning a new leaf. Master maybe not knowing that. Could he propose a hand to Osha? Are we going to get a reversal of fortunes here? I don't think so, but I would love
I think just him tossing her off to the side kind of puts that idea to rest.
But he doesn't want to kill her. He's like, let me kill these guys. Let me come back to you later, probably.
Sure. But it could be just like, I could use you later alive if I need to against May.
Yeah, true. But it's like, I would love to like see him put his hand out to Man or to Osha. I would love that. Granted, I think Osha's path is towards the light, but things are changing week to week, so you never really know. But I kind of would like. I kind of think that Osha's gonna stay with the good guys for now. But once Osha realizes what really happened, May has some version of events. Osha, we just saw her version of events, but that's not the full story. Once that gets revealed, like I just said, how will Osha react to Soul's treachery or the truth? It could have her connecting to the Force, but on the bad side. It's a theory. It's a shot. It could happen. The Master he collects people. He's good at collecting people. One of the people could turn out to be Osha in the future. We don't know. I hope not.
It's in my heart. I hope not.
I hope not either. I want Osha and Jackie, stay strong with the Jedi.
You know what I'm gonna do?
What?
I'm gonna start writing scenes where someone's like, when this is all over, I'm gonna tell you what's up, and I'm actually gonna get there.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I missed that. I missed
just to make the audience like on their toes and be like, oh no, we're fine.
I missed talking about that. You're right. He brought me back to the light here. Soul says that beforehand, and there's a moment where he kind of like looks at a tree, and then he kind of like, and then Osha's like, "What's going on?" Soul's like, "It's nothing. We got to keep on moving." Before they get to the house, I think he senses when Kanaka died. He senses when Kanaka died. Same thing happened when Torben died. He's like, they're walking through the temple. We got to keep on moving. We got to hurry up. Torben died in that moment. Same thing in the forest. They're tracking the tracker. Then they look for, they look at this tree. He senses something. Doesn't say what. I think he senses when Kanaka died. Then they get to the temple or to the scene here. So yeah, and then that line, I'll tell you everything on the ship. When we get May and you safely onto the ship at the end, I'll tell you everything you need to know. Okay, you're dead. You might as well wave the flag. Wave the flag.
Don't do this to me.
That was so bad. You are dead. Maybe not next week. Maybe next week. But you're dead.
It's so funny how oblivious I'd be, dude. I'd be like, I'll watch an episode, and he'll say something like that, and I'll just be like, that'll be a good time. And then I go into our chats, and everyone's like, he's gone, he's dead, Soul's noble end. And I'm like, oh, what? Why? Oh man, I'm a fucking writer.
When you said that, I was like, oh, you're so dead. But yeah, the Jedi attacked or rushed the guy, and I think it's a guy, by the way. I don't think it's because again, popular theory could be Coral or Anastasia. I don't think so. I think they still could be
the shoulders, Evan.
I think they could be plotting with this Darth, but we'll have to wait and see.
Multiple Darths.
He is black, so like it could be Anastasia, but I don't think so. That'd be cool if it was like a Dark Mother trope there.
It's a third sister, Evan.
Oh no. But then yeah, they get pushed, and then the episode ends abruptly when Soul's ass is in her face. But yeah, end of the episode. That's about it. Not much to theorize because we're days away from the rest of the episode playing out in episode 5.
Here's a question.
Yeah.
Next episode, do you actually think we're going to have the immediate follow-up to that, or do you think we're going to go to the past?
Oh, God. Now, I've been defending Leslie left and right. I'll go to the end of the earth for you, Leslie. End of the earth. I will run to California right now if we go to a flashback next week. I will not like that. I'll try my best to defend it, but I wouldn't like that. Granted, I don't think we are. I'm 99% chance we're going to continue. I might have saw something.
I don't know anything. Let's be clear.
I might have saw something from a commercial that might lead me to believe
you all keep watching spot after spot. And
I didn't search for it, motherfucker. I'm scrolling through Twitter and somebody says Acolyte promo, and it's on my feed, Nathan. What am I supposed to do? Scroll up?
Yes. What am I supposed to do? Close the app and touch grass?
Exactly. Fuck grass.
It's so funny. Yeah, like it's not just you. Other people in chat would be like, well, we know like A is going to B to do fucking equation Y, and I'm like, I didn't know this. I'm like watching. I'm just here for like oblivious as hell because I didn't watch anything past like the first trailer. Maybe did I see the second trailer? I don't even know.
Wow, that's funny.
It's so funny.
But yeah, I think we are getting some action. I assume everybody's dead besides Jackie, your soul.
Yeah.
That's about it.
And OSHA.
And OSHA, of course, in May. But he's going to wreck house. He's going to wreck house. So
knock
yeah.
his thumbs out. I'm here. Hold his wound.
He's like, he sees a day. I would love that. Yeah. We'll have to wait and see. If I'm missing anything, we'll talk more about it because, again, it's pretty much half an episode. Not a filler. Again, May changing sides in general, or at least wanting to, is a big plot relevancy that you don't see in filler episodes, guys. And again, a lot of it has some great OSHA. Her talk with Soul, Yor, and Jackie were very fascinating this week. The whole mission to go track down May, like, filler means you can probably skip it and it won't have any relevance to the story. You might miss some character beats, but not the story. You can't skip this episode. You can't go from episode 2 to 3 to 5.
Yeah.
It's not going to work.
How did we get in this forest? Why is May not working with them anymore? What's going on?
Exactly. It's not a filler. You can call it boring. I don't give a fuck, but it's like, I don't think it was boring, though. We just talked about it for an hour and 10 minutes. But it's like, there's a lot of stuff that's happening. And if there's any missing stuff, we'll talk about it on next weekend. Follow me on Twitter, Harris EV9. Trying to go watch some House of the Dragons. I'll be talking about that. Anime came on tonight, so I'm watching that, as well as track and field. Huge track and field fan. Noah Lyles came out with the Yu-Gi-Oh card. Love him for that. He's a huge anime guy, so always got to support that. So that's what I'll be talking about. How about you, Nathan?
You find me at _Time Blazer, making a show called Time Blazer with co-star and creative consultant Evan Harris.
That's me. About to watch House of the Dragon.
Let's go. All right. And that being said, Evan, it's funny.
Yes. What's up, Tones? I'm getting ready to watch the episode right now. I know the episode's out. I'm coming.
Real quick, it's funny. Because our trip to Japan, hopefully next year. I started learning Japanese on Duolingo. I've begun.
Oh, cool.
And a fun trick I've learned, there is a word which is bengoshi, and it means lawyer. And so the way I remember it is the name Ben is in it. It was a lawyer. I was like, awesome. Hey, that worked out for me. My fucking continuous themes of Japanese things.
I love that.
So fun.
Okay. See you guys later.
All right, man. If you guys enjoy this, make sure you like button, subscribe, not ring the bell, so you future Hyperspace Hypes. It makes it. Hope you have a great day. Catch you guys next time, and the force be with you always.